गुड मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट्स। आज मैं आपको क्लास 11th के अकाउंटेंसी के चैप्टर नंबर 2 बेसिक अकाउंटिंग टर्म्स के कुछ टॉपिक क्लियर करूँगी। कुछ टर्म्स हैं जो विच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन अकाउंटिंग फील्ड। फर्स्ट इज़ बिजनेस स्टडी, सेकंड इज़ इवेंट, थर्ड इज़ अकाउंट, फोर्थ इज़ लायबिलिटीज़, फिफ्थ इज़ एसेट्स। चलिए वन बाय हम इसके डिस्कस करते हैं इसको। फर्स्ट, बिजनेस ट्रांजेक्शन क्या होती है ये? अ बिजनेस transaction is an economic activity that can be measured in terms of money and which affects the financial position of the business. Means a business transaction is an economic activity that can be measured in a terms of money and which affect the financial position of the business. For example, goods purchased, second, goods sold, third, amount received, fourth, amount paid. These are a transaction which can measure in a terms of money. नेक्स्ट पढ़ते हैं हम इवेंट, फर्स्ट टर्म एंड सेकंड टर्म is event. What do you mean by event? An event is the result of a transaction at the end of the year. An event is a result है किसी भी ट्रांजेक्शन का at the end of year. For example, stock, cash and capital. Point number 3, account. What do you mean by account? Account refers to a summarized record of relevant transaction of particular head at one place account. Account refer to a systemized record of a relevant transaction of a particular head at a one place account. What is a format of account and how to make a format of account? Particulars, amount, particulars, amount. This is a left hand side and you can say it is a debit. In a short you can say dr dot. It is right hand side, you can say it is a credit. In a short you can say cr dot. You can say also T shape account. नेक्स्ट टर्म पढ़ते हैं, पॉइंट नंबर 4. इट इज़ liabilities. What do you mean by liabilities? Liabilities are obligation or debts that an enterprise has to pay after some time in the future. Liabilities are obligation of debt an enterprise has to pay after some time in a future. Liabilities formula, how to calculate liabilities? Assets minus में capital. These formula we are used in accounting equation chapter number 6. Liabilities are divided on two bases. Point number 1, internal and external liabilities. Internal and external liabilities. Point number 2, current and non-current liabilities. लाइबिलिटीज़ को टू पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया गया है. फर्स्ट इज इंटरनल एक्सटर्नल लाइबिलिटीज, सेकेंड इज करंट एंड नॉन करंट लाइबिलिटीज. फर्स्ट इज, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय इंटरनल लाइबिलिटीज? All amounts which a business entity has to pay to the owner is known as internal liabilities. It includes capital and accumulative profits. What do you mean by internal liabilities? All amount which a business entity has to pay to the owner is known as a internal. Second, external liabilities. All amounts which a business entity has to pay to the outsider are known as external liabilities. Point number 2, it includes creditors, bank, overdraft, loan, etc. What do you mean by external liabilities? All amount which a business entity has to pay to the outsider are known as a external liabilities. It's including creditors, bank overdraft and loan. Next is current liabilities. Current liabilities are obligation that are payable within a period of 1 year. Current liabilities are obligation debt payable within a period of 1 year. For example, creditors and bills payable. Point number 4, non current liabilities. Means non-current liabilities are those obligation that are payable after a period of 1 year. For example, long term loan. Point number 2, debentures. Non-current liabilities are those obligations that are payable after 1 year, after period of 1 year. It is a within a period of 1 year. It is after a period of 1 year. Last basic term is assets. What do you mean by assets? A resources on by a person, by a business. Point number 5, last term, assets. What do you mean by assets? A resource on by a business entity that can be expressed in terms of money and provides future economic benefits to the business entity. A resources on by a business entity that can be expressed in the terms of money and the provided future economic benefit to the business entity. Assets are divided on 3 bases. First is current assets. Second is non current assets. It is also divided again 2 parts. First is tangible asset. Second is intangible. Last is fictitious or nominal assets. चलिए एक्सप्लेन करते हैं वन बाय वन. फर्स्ट इज करंट एसेट्स. What do you mean by current assets? Current assets are those assets which are held for short period and can be converted into cash within 1 year. Current assets are those assets which are held for short-term period and can be converted into cash within 1 year. For example, debtors and stock, etc. Current assets are also called first is short lived assets. Point number 2, active asset. Point number 3, you can say floating assets also. Last is circulated assets. Assets are also called short-lived, active asset, floating assets and circulated assets. Point number 2, non-current assets. It is also divided two parts. First is tangible or intangible. First we know that what do you mean by non-current assets. Non-current assets. Non-current assets are those assets which are held for long period and used for business operations. Means non-current assets are those assets which are held for long period and used for business operation. We divide into two parts. First is tangible asset. What do you mean by tangible assets? Tangible assets are those assets which have physical existence and can be seen and touched. Means tangible assets are those assets which have a physical existence, जिसका physically क्या होता है, अस्तित्व होता है, and can be seen and touched, जिसको आप देख सकते हो और touch कर सकते हो. For example, land and building. Point number 2, intangible assets. Intangible assets are those assets which have no physical existence and can be felt by operation. Example: goodwill. Intangible assets are those assets which have no physically existence, जिसका physical existence नहीं होता, can be felt by operation, सिर्फ आप feel कर सकते हो. For example, goodwill. Goodwill is also intangible assets. With the help of goodwill, you can earn profit. It is a hidden power. Last is fictitious or nominal assets. These are the assets which can't be realized in cash or no further benefit can be derived from these assets. Means these assets are assets which can't be realized in cash or no further benefit can be derived from these assets. For example, advertisement, expenses are the fictitious assets. I hope you understand what I am saying to you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care.